Hello and welcome to another episode of Cutting Chai Stories, an initiative by ETH powered by Lenovo. I'm Ashwani Mishra, bringing to you conversations with business and IT leaders as they share their personal and professional journey over the years, some unknown stories from their lives. As we converse, we'll also try to get some insights on their leadership traits, hobbies, and other such appealing and engaging topics. Joining me today for this session is Charu Chandra Kanade, fondly called as Charu, who in his professional role is the Vice President, Corporate IT and Security at Qualys. Welcome, Charu, on Cutting Chai Stories.
Thank you, Ashwini. Thank you for having me here. And it's a pleasure to meet you once again and look forward to having this interesting conversation.
It's a pleasure to host you, Charu. Look forward to some very insightful insights and discussion from as we go forward. Let's get a bit nostalgic, Charu, and go back in time. Could you take us through your childhood, your school days, and lessons learned early on, which have stayed with you till date?
Sure. I really don't know whether I'm in a position to kind of be giving a sermon or like a guru kind of thing. But yes, I'm basically I was born and brought up in Mumbai. Did my schooling, college, graduation, post graduation, everything was done in Mumbai. So like a normal kid, enjoying life, going to school, playing cricket. I believe that's the by default things get added in your CV when you are born in
Based
Mumbai.
out of, right.
Yeah. So yes, it was a fun living in South Mumbai, having the sea, having the beach, going to there for the morning walks or evening or with friend outings, and I really enjoyed life, and it was a really carefree uh, uh, part of my life, I would say.
So you mentioned about cricket, Charu. So were you in way part of some club or some of the school teams or college teams that were there at that point in time?
Yes, I used to participate in the school events. I also represented my organizations in the initial part of my career in some of those events, corporate events. So yes, it was fun, and in between schooling, in between the regular other stuff. I think at that point of time we probably did not have so many TV channels and so many distractions from the phones and stuff like that. So reading and playing were the two major sort of activities, which you could do, and I enjoyed both of them. So I read a lot Marathi literature, and the rest of the time was playing.
So Marathi literature, Charu, so I have read a couple of books on Pula Deshpande. So would that be one of the literary pieces that you would have read, or were there some
Oh,
different writers?
oh no, he's all-time favorite. But I also used to enjoy reading historical kind of event books based on Chhatrapati Shivaji, or some of those that era books, which kind of give you a little bit of understanding of how the situation was, and it helps you understand how India has evolved in a sense.
True. Yes. Yes. It does give you that background. So you were in a part of South Bombay, and I believe you did your B in mechanical, if I'm
No, I
right.
did my B in electrical,
Electrical
and
from SP
yeah,
Jain College.
from
So
SPCE. Yes, at that
right.
time it was.
So how was the initiative, or how did you decide that you wanted to go into the engineering piece?
Well, right from my childhood, I was always interested in kind of, opening up gadgets, breaking gadgets, if you may want to say it that way. Sometimes I could not put them back together. Most of the time I could, but sometimes I could not. And so I was always interested in opening things, trying to, get the fan fixed or the tube light installed, or even open a TV for that matter, the black and white big TVs which we used to have at that point of time, and see what is inside. So I was always interested in working on things with my own hand, and so that kind of was the inclination towards engineering. And then electrical engineering, computers was something which was of interest to me as I was growing through my career. So that was a natural choice at that point of time.
Right. Right. So any defining moments at that point in time, Charu, that you recall or that have stayed with you at least in the graduation years or engineering days?
Uh, well, there are some sort of uh, funny sort of anecdotal incidents that kind of remind me. It is basically, my teachers encouraging me to do things, and which sort of allowed me to explore myself, try out different things, participate in projects. And so we had this one project, a science project, and we kind of were struggling to think what can we do. And my teacher at that point of time, science teacher, actually helped us with a very simple concept, and helped us build a project about magnetism, and how the effect of magnetism is all around us.
Right.
And this was, I mean, I was probably in the fifth or sixth standard, and that kind of fascinated me towards, probably that was one of the beginning where, I started liking science and really wanted to understand things around me, how they work, how they function, and why things are the way they are, kind of, if I may say that. And my interest always is to understand how things work, what drives the individual, or how a human being thinks. That's something. Once I explore that, I believe that really helps you to grow as an individual. And it started with sort of gadgets, mechanics, technologies, and then gradually moved on to teams, people, and the dynamics in a business work environment.
True, true. So you're more of a hands-on, roll up your sleeves and then work around it. So you do that even to the existing day, or how does it work?
Oh yes, absolutely. I am very often, I must say, very often sort of reminded that I'm not supposed to do that. Even at home, I do things on my own, and I'm reminded, no, 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 you're not supposed to do that now. Please be careful.
Right, Charu. So your first job, how did that happen? Like, was it HCL or
No, actually, I got a placement through campus in Mazgaon Docks.
Okay,
That was a shipbuilding company. It's still
right.
there. It went public, I think, last year. So it was one of the premier shipbuilding organizations which builds ships for primarily for the Indian Navy, and then secondary, other offshore petrol vehicles and stuff like that, for ONGCs and some of the other government subsidiaries. So yeah, I joined there in a project planning and control department, and my first job was to kind of manage inventory for a offshore petrol vessel which was being built. So it was a small software project where we kind of inventorized all the items which were required, and prepared inventory and the consumption and allocation of those things. And it was a completely different learning experience. The scale completely changed. I was working with smaller gadgets, and here there was a like 2,500-ton ship, and huge stuff. And it was interesting. It was a very short stint, but it was interesting. And then from then I moved to HCL with core IT kind of background, and
Okay.
continued
And
in
you've
that.
stayed with that sector, I believe, So
Oh yes, I
uh,
actually did my master's in finance. After a couple of years, but somehow my sort of inclination towards gadgets, things, technology, I continued in the field of technology.
So, if I could just ask a very simple question around, you've been in the industry for over now 3 decades now. Can you share some of the defining moments in your career that have really created a huge impact for you?
Um, there are multiple events, I would say. As you're growing, or as you're working through your professional experience, you are going through different stages. Like everything has a life cycle, right? So
Right.
you start, then you understand how things are being done. Aspire to be a kind of leader. You want to explain things to people, and then grow through the career. So there are a couple of incidents which I kind of remember. One was in my sort of HCL days. I don't want to give a background or names, but I mean, all of us are aware there were some big scams which occurred in the early 90s, right? Financial scams. And then one fine day, I was just asked to go to an office with the government officials and asked to crack a machine open. And I had
Oh,
no clue what it was, how it is, where it is, what it is about. And, I learned about that after the things came in the newspaper later on, but I could kind of fortunately, I was successful in cracking that machine and giving them access. And I think the governments did the rest of the job beyond that. But so those are some of the kind of special moments which, I still cherish. And similarly,
cherish.
VSNL was kind of implementing their one of their servers for international gateway, and they had a big problem. A couple of days were lost in that process, and then finally, I could help resolve some of those challenges. So those were the real hands-on kind of challenges which I really
Challenges.
enjoyed. And then, of course, it kept. I mean, the scope kept enhancing, or scope kept increasing in terms of organizational level issues, or making sure how do things make it work for some of the uh, integrations of different acquisitions, mergers, changing technologies, migrating from one platform to the other.
Other,
They
right.
absolutely challenging. Y2K was one big one in between. And there is an interesting anecdotal experience. I mean, while we were all, really, really concerned, we actually did a small test in my organization at that point of time, and we changed the dates 6 months before just to see what happens.
You were with Geometric at that point in time, if I'm right.
No, I was with Airline Financial Support Services, which was a
Okay.
Swissair
Okay. Okay.
back office company. And of course, we are doing our application migration and we were testing all that. But there was always a concern: what will happen to a PC? What would happen to some of those, intermediary gadgets that we actually use for connecting, to the central systems, and how would they function? And all that was a big concern. So somewhere 6 months before the actual event, we just decided that as a pilot in a test environment to start switching the dates and just took them forward to the new millennium. And to our surprise, everything worked, and nothing really failed in that sense, in the sense the real time. Of course, the application part is a completely different story that
True.
you couldn't take a chance with. But some of the real time stuff, which you are working on a system, we actually tried that to see what really happens, what could happen. And so in a sense, we did that pilot for about a month, uh, 6 months in advance, and we were quite confident that things would turn out to be pretty well. Of course, we did whatever was recommended by the manufacturers, or from compliance perspective, whatever had to be done.
Right.
So I always like doing things in a slightly different way, and get that feel for yourself. That's the thrill. I believe I really enjoy that.
Very interesting and inspiring as well, Charu. So coming to the leadership piece, what are some of the leadership lessons that you follow? How do you lead and inspire your own team?
Um, well, I believe leadership is a lot to do with the personality of the leader. It really leaves a lasting impression on the team. And I was fortunate enough to work with some of the very, very inspiring leaders in my initial days. So just as an anecdotal incident, my first manager never ever told me no whenever I said I want to leave, or I want to do X, Y, Z, or I need for some personal reason, uh, I need to do I need to take a day off, or want to leave a little bit early. And that kind of the result was whenever I was asked to do anything extra, or take care of some pressure situations, I was more than willing to do that.
Do that.
So that reciprocal behavior is something which is natural to human beings. And I learned through that experience that if I was told no, you cannot take this leave, or no, you cannot do this, then probably I'll think in the other way. But
True.
if I'm given that responsibility and leeway, saying that yes, if you think you need it, okay, take it. And then you know you can always catch up with some other way of doing other things. So that was something big. And then, of course, meticulous planning and stuff like that. I've worked from various other leaders. The effectiveness of communication. How do you really present yourself? How you articulate ideas? So some of those things is something which I have learned through my experience. I believe in sort of learning the techniques uh, through going through the techniques, of course, but watching people, observing people. I think that gives you the best experience, and you actually can see what are the reactions and how different people react to them. So that's what I try to do in my own style of leadership. Try to be open, try to be inclusive, make sure um, while you share your ideas, while you give the guidelines, keep the table open for others to contribute. Let everything come onto the table, and then you can pick up the best out of that. Give acknowledgements for team members who are contributing in that, and also give them responsibilities, help them grow in their own domains, their own whatever aspirations that they may have. How can you help them to grow and keep the organizational goal as well as the individual personal goals aligned? I think if you can get a better alignment there, you are successful as a leader, and your team becomes more successful
More
as well.
successful. One piece that I could pick out is inclusiveness, Charu. So that's very essential for a leader to imbibe and give it back to their team members. So in terms of new as you rightly said, Charu. So you have been more of a hands-on person. Trying to pick up things as you do it. So how have you invested in your own self, to keep improving your skills over time?
Oh, well, that's being in a field of technology. I think when I started my career, things used to change every 3 years. That's what they used to say. That there is a complete refresh which happens, and now I believe it happens in 3 months. I mean, within 3 months, something is obsolete at times.
True. Yes.
So you have to keep in touch. You have to really understand what's happening around you. At the same time, I think what has really helped me is some kind of a me time, reflections. So what are you trying to achieve? What have you done? So at the end of the day, at the end of the week, maybe at the end of the project, having that reflections to see what we have done, what could have been done better, what could have been done differently. I think it gives you a lot of ideas. It tells you really, which is sometimes very difficult to kind of visualize as you are running through the project or as you are running through your life. I think it that break or that half an hour or 15 minutes
Is
or whatever
needed.
it might be
I
is
know, right?
absolutely required. And that has helped me. Of course, I was fortunate enough to kind of attend a lot of trainings in terms of technology as well as leadership, personality, behavior in India as well as abroad. So that has helped, and probably that inclusiveness or that cultural differences awareness has really helped me in that
Helped you.
aspect. When
True.
you deal with people from different backgrounds, different societies, different lifestyles.
Right. And any hobbies or interests that you pursue, Charu, apart from the work life that you have, and I'm sure that would be quite hectic, but you manage to take out time for yourself, and any hobbies that you are following,
There's a lot of things. I mean, I'm a sport buff, so I watch most of the major events, whether it is Formula One racing, soccer, in terms of cricket matches, of course, or Olympics, or some of those things, table tennis championships. I've been a table tennis player myself during my college days. Won a couple of
Okay, right.
championships in college as well.
So you
So
play that even now, or is it tough for you to find out that time?
it is really tough to play now. Even if I have time to kind of play, at that level, or the expectations of self is sometimes a little bit difficult to catch up
Too
now.
demanding.
Yes. But it has always been fun, and so that is something which I like, being uh, current with the current affairs, polity, environment,
Right.
different things happening around. That's something which is also interest. I like music, Indian classical or Western. Uh, so anything good music for me, the criteria, it has to be good music. It
Good
should be
music.
really enjoyed. That's it.
Right. A final question, Charu, before I draw in Aditya as well to this conversation. Apart from your corporate mandate, do you have something like a personal mission, something that you would like to do after you retire? Any long-term personal goals that you have set for yourself?
Yes, there are two things I would say. One is, I want to learn some musical instrument or sing or whatever. And I mean, some kind of a hobby developed, which can continue. Sports and all those things. Yes, you enjoy them, but you cannot play to that level, or it's very difficult to maintain that your own self expectations. But I believe music or instruments is something which you can continue to learn. That's the endless world. I mean, you can learn it for years and years, and you still would be
So
learning.
any specific musical instrument that you're trying to fix yourself on, Charu?
Not decided yet. It could be singing, or it could be some string instrument. That's what I'm thinking right now.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the other part, of course, is how can you contribute to the society at the in terms of people around you. So I'm associated with some of the social causes. I contribute there. I help when people ask for guidance and stuff like that. So
Oh,
that is
that's really
another
nice to know.
area where I believe we have to give something back to the society. We take a lot from society without really realizing it, and a lot of people have contributed in making all of us and what we are today. So I think in whatever the small way, big way, it has to be given back to the society. I think that's also something which is important. So uh, that the time is currently a little bit of a challenge, but yes. So on weekends and sometimes financially, whatever help I can provide, that's something which I try to
That's
continue.
very inspiring and commendable, Charu. No, so that's really nice to know. Right, Charu. I'll draw in Aditya as well. Aditya, if you could, come on screen as so we have this common question for both of you. One is, what are the challenges faced by the industry or your sector in specific in the current year? Are there any key innovations that you're looking at, and how do we get more resilient in the coming years? So these are the three parts to this question. Maybe Charu, you can take it first, and then we'll have Aditya answer them.
Sure. So, yeah, I think what happened last year was unprecedented. I don't think anybody was prepared for a pandemic of that scale, and what does it really mean? Um, Different organizations or different line of businesses have reacted it differently. Fortunately, I've been in technology field, so our processes were already kind of digitized, or we had some of the basic uh, uh, requirements to kind of work remotely or allow people to work remotely. Those kind of things were already there, but there have been challenges in terms of how do we manage things, and the business processes which were not really catered to kind of deal with those scenarios. They had to be quickly redesigned, and they had to be worked around. So there is a lot of demand on cloud-based solutions, cloud-based technologies that has picked up. Security awareness in terms of the threat perceptions has changed dramatically in the last 1 year. We see the overall threat perception is many folds increased, and the bad guys, so as to say, they've
Right.
also kind of considered this as opportunity, and they have evolved in that process as well. So those are some of the challenges that I see industry as such facing.
From the innovation piece, Charu, anything that you are looking at, maybe not specifically to your company, but something that is going to aid or support your particular ITS sector, so anything specific that you're looking at on the technology front?
Well, I mean, I see there's going to be a dramatic sort of convergence in terms of the different gadgets that we use. I don't see going forward we will be using multiple gadgets, as we do. The
Okay.
gadgets will get smaller, the gadgets will get intelligent. There'll be a AI piece which will come into that, and it's something that we are not going to we can't get away from. It's going to increase the influence in our lives over a period of time, and they are going to be getting smaller and smaller and more efficient in that sense. So we'll have to adapt to that way of life where
Right.
I have a kind of a gadget which allows me to interact with different services, different data sources, which may be anywhere in the world, which need not be with me, which today we are used to that, I have things with me on my machine, at my home. So those things are going to change dramatically, and controlling of them, the IoT, that is going to make a tremendous
Big impact. I know, right? Yes, Aditya.
Yeah, so what Charu said, if I look at top challenges, we are one the supply chain is very, very unpredictable right now, and that's the conversations we always end up having with our own customers, right? That supply, and that's not changed over past 1 year. The complexion has changed, right? Whether you can predict what's going to come, what's not coming. But if I look at a broader macro, the security and manageability piece has become more challenging for us and for our customers, right? Like as Charu said, the threats have increased. And the ability of those threats to kind of dent has also increased because of people working from home. It's not really a constrained environment. So we see security as one of the biggest challenges. And second, to close extent is manageability, right? So people, for example, now are looking at VDI, a virtual desktop, right? So people can log in now. While it also helps manageability, also helps security in some extent, right? So we're seeing our customers move towards that. Second is productivity, right? And productivity is coming in two angles, right? If you look at productivity, one angle is that our customers used to tell us that, hey, if my PC, is not working, please fix it fast. But now what people are saying is that, hey, predict it, that it's going to go wrong, right? And then give me a solution so that you can either self-heal it, or at least that something is gonna go bad, right? So that's something for which we have solutions now. And the other piece is that how do you keep people who are at home being productive, right? Because companies, not just from a latency or from a engagement of time, but how do you make sure that they are doing what they're supposed to do? They log in at the right hours. There is a security framework around what they are doing, and not unneededly, not that they want to, right? But at times you may end up doing something which costs you in terms of security, and then it then has a downtime, right? So this whole piece of manageability, security is what we're seeing. And then last is the whole cash cycle, right? Because this has, while for some industries, this has been better, but for some industries, people are now trying to conserve cash, which is why they're seeing that, hey, can we, from a CapEx model, can we go to an OpEx model?
OpEx model, right?
So these are the top challenges that we are seeing right now.
On the innovation piece, Aditya, anything specific that enterprises can look forward to?
So I think on innovation, first for a company, from us, people are always expecting cheaper, faster, and smarter, right? So people want technology which is better, yet at a pricing, or at least at a value proposition which is there. And second, in this whole IoT piece, right? We think that this is gonna explode because of all the even connectivity that's increasing, the kind of devices which are coming up, smart offices, new solutions which are coming up. We believe that this is a strong piece. We'll see that happening slowly, but this whole IoT piece, we feel that is gonna explode in some time.
Right. I guess I know we are on the cutoff time, and I will wind up this conversation. Right. Thank you, Charu, for sharing your story and sharing some of the insights that many of us were not aware of, and also for the insights around technology trends and challenges that enterprises are facing. Thank you, Aditya, for sharing your viewpoint. It was a pleasure speaking with you on Cutting Chai Stories. Thank you, both of you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.